In this video, we will view submissions from a BizForm and look at how to set up some other properties, including email notifications. Here is an example of an autoresponder. This email will be sent to the user after they have submitted their form. It can be personalized, such as including the user's name, like you see here. Here is an example of an email notification. This will be sent to the club after a form has been submitted and can also be personalized, as you can see in the subject line. Both of these do need to be enabled within the back end of the website, and we're going to look at how to do that now. Remember, in order to access your BizForms, you're going to switch to Club Central and click on that BizForms application square. If you want to edit an existing form, just click on that pencil icon beside the form name. First thing we're going to look at is the recorded data. So, when we did submit our entry, our data is now being stored within this section for us. So we can go ahead and see all the fields that were answered. If you like, you can click on Actions and export this to Excel. Now, before we look at setting up that autoresponder and email notification, we're going to start by going into Fields. If you recall, any component that we do delete within the form builder must be deleted here first. Now, if you did mark a question as required, this is also your opportunity to come in here, select that question, and unmark it as required before you delete it. And that can be done just by clicking that required button. You'll see that there are some fields that are grayed out, and that means that they no longer exist in our form, such as the multiple choice control. However, please note that we never want to delete these three fields that you see at the top here. That one will be the name of your form plus the ID, when the form was inserted, and when the form was updated. These should always remain within your form. Now, if you do have a component that you need to delete, all you have to do is click on that component. So this is the multiple choice question that we did delete. And you're just going to click on that trash can. Another neat thing we can do is actually change the field name for that component. For this one, I want to choose the first option. And if you can't remember what the field name is for that component, you can find it under the field caption. Changing the field name here does help when you are trying to personalize your email notifications and your autoresponders. Note that you cannot put space in the field name. You will get an error message. So just do simply what you see here by putting it all as one word. For this one, I'm just going to put name. And make sure you save those changes. And that's about all you really need to know within the field area. Now we're going to click on the three ellipses, and let's go ahead and look at that email notification. Your email notification allows emails to be sent to someone at the club whenever a BizForm has been submitted on the website. To enable this function, simply click off Send Form Data to Email. The From email is the From field in the email notification. So, for example, we'll put in our email address. Then your To field is whoever at the club will be receiving these notifications. And I'm going to put myself in here. Then you can go ahead and populate that subject line. Now you can personalize the subject line with field information that has been captured within the form. For example, the name of a person who submitted the form, like you saw in our example of the email notification. In order to do that, we're going to start by putting our subject. And remember in the field section how we changed that field name from text box control to name. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and put in that new field name. You can do that by putting in a parentheses, percent sign, the field name, followed by the percent sign and a parentheses. The field name, when used within 2 percent signs and 2 parentheses, as seen here, will auto-populate that field used within that form submission. So make sure to use a field that has been marked as required so that all notifications do include data as opposed to an empty field. And if you ever forget, that can always be found within the field section on the left. And let's go ahead and save those changes. Next, we're going to look at the autoresponder. This will send an email automatically to the user upon submission of their form within the website. This will only work if the form included a field to obtain the user's email address. That's why we do recommend that all BizForms do have an email address field and suggest that this field be marked as required. First thing you want to do for that confirmation email source is to choose either email or whatever field you use to capture the user's email address. The from email is whoever this email notification will be coming from. So let's put in that same email address. And then you can add your subject as well. This subject can also be personalized, like you saw within the email notification. Now we can actually customize that autoresponder email, and this is going to be the actual email body itself. You do have the use of the content editor, so if you are familiar with either working on your web pages or using our email marketing program, you'll see the content editor is very similar to that. Now we can actually personalize the body of the message. So I'm going to start by saying, hi. And I want to put that member's name in there. So on the right hand side, we can see the available fields that we have within the form. Again, like within the email notification, remember how we went into fields and changed the field name from text box control to name? That way, once we enter the value into the email, it'll be a little bit more clear as to what that value actually is. Now, in order to insert that into our email, we're going to click Insert Value, and that's going to enter that value into your email. So now that whatever the user entered as their name will automatically populate within their email. So let's throw in a comma and add in our text. Once you've entered all the information into the body of your email, again, just make sure you click that Save button. The last thing we're going to take a look at is layout. The layout section allows for the ability to customize the form layout and make changes to the field positioning and appearance. By default, the fields will be arranged as they appear within the form builder. So you don't actually have to come in here and adjust the layout. This is just if you want to do some special customization to it. Now there are two ways of customizing the layout, and both start by enabling the Use Custom Form layout. As you're doing your custom layout, your content editor can be used for both options. Also note that the fields must already exist within your form in order for the custom layout section to be used properly. So option number 1. What we can do is click Generate Default Layout, and that's going to add all your components at once into the content area. This will pull the field label, the field input, and the field validation. This can now be customized if you choose to. If you leave it at just generate default layout, it will just left align the form for you. For option number 2, we're going to use custom form layout, and this time we can actually insert every field one by one. And you will find that under Insert Field. What you want to do is start by placing your cursor, and you're going to choose your layout element in your for field. First, we'd probably want to start with that label because that's the actual name of the field. So we'll insert that, put a few spaces. Now we want to insert that input, and that's the answer that the user submitted. Insert that, more spaces, and lastly, we'll put in that validation. Just in case this question was marked as required and the user did not answer that question, it will pull up an error message. So for both option 1 and option 2, you can choose to put photos in here, you can play around with the text. If you want to get custom with that, you definitely can. If not, you can simply use that use automatically generated form layout, and you can always put your text and images directly on the web page. Again, let's just save those changes.